All right, welcome back to the Homestand Show. Albert Vartanian, Justin Pooty, and joining us now, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Bobby Conway of BET99. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well.
Are you ready for tonight? Game 2, big game. Justin Pooty calling it the most important game in a long time for the Toronto Maple
Bigger
Leafs.
than any Game 7.
Bigger than any Game 7.
I guess based on the past history of Game 7s, yes, this one would be the biggest game of this kind of generation of the Leafs with Dubas and Keefe and Matthews and Marner and Tavares. This would be their biggest game. Yeah,
Time is now.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. It's gonna be a fun game. We'll see how they respond. They didn't very well in the first 20 minutes for something that they knew was coming for a very, very long time, and this is now the next biggest game. So we'll just see how that happens.
Yeah, look at Tampa. 10 with teams that had 10+ playoff series wins with a 2-zip lead. Tampa Bay 10-0.
Yeah,
huge game. I mean, they go up 1-0, 13-2, so that's also pretty good, right? I mean, Tampa Bay's a very good team, but no Hedman, potentially no Hedman. Chernak for sure. I mean, kind of gives the edge to the Leafs, right?
You got to. I mean, on paper, that it's a better team regardless. And you take away those two guys, we're talking about 2 of the top 4 for sure, and their best defenseman, obviously, in Hedman, and the offense for the Leafs should be able to exploit that, but we'll see.
What's the setup tonight? We're watching the game. It's just home time, recliner.
Yeah, couch. I have a 8-month baby at home. She'll be dressed up in her Leaf gear, which I think I should just, whoever Connor Bedard goes, I should just get her to cheer for that team.
I know.
So for the next 10 years, she could be happy because she's 0-1 as a Leafs fan in the playoffs. Let's just say that.
Yeah, you got to go with the family, right, Justin Pooney?
yeah. I mean, I'm not.
You're Canucks till you die.
My kids will be Canucks fans.
Yeah.
My kids' will be Canucks
That's
fans.
unfortunate. That's
My
really
kids.
unfortunate.
Well, it's better than being a Leafs fan.
Hey,
Hey,
there
we
it
know
is.
what the
All right, well,
second-
let's talk some betting.
we
Let's
know
talk
what
some
the
hockey.
second round tastes
Let's
like.
get to some Bet99 bets. How about that for a little
Nice.
snazzy
Wow.
stinger?
Wow.
Bet99 coming through.
Nobody else gets that on the show.
Dude, this is real stuff here.
Okay.
Professional. Okay, let's talk about the first game then. Maple Leafs at the Lightning. As of recording this, the Leafs minus 175 to win the game. The Lightning plus 150.
Yeah, like you're gonna hear this a lot because these are 4 home teams that all lost their first game. I don't love minus 170 for the Leafs, and that's great value on the Lightning. But the narrative, the storyline of how series often go is if the home team loses the first game, they usually figure out a way to get the second. So we have 4 opportunities for a home team to even the series up tonight, and right out of the gate with the Leafs, I think minus 170 is a decent number. Over 6.5. Yeah, I mean, look, there's 10 last game, but that's a tough spot to be in. But I think the Leafs put up a good performance. If I had to pick one, I don't love the value there, but I'd go with the Leafs.
You see, Bobby, we were just talking about this. Everybody's saying that, but this could definitely be recency bias. But I don't see why they can't lay an egg again, based on what we saw, and the whole Samsonov issue.
You don't want to think that, right? You don't want to think that they're gonna lay another egg. But it's going to be possible, right?
Of course, it's definitely possible. But when you're looking at like the numbers here, so the numbers it's almost irrelevant because when you're setting a line to what previously has happened in one game, right? This isn't, and there isn't any computer AI that's including devastating losses in Game 7. This is just on paper. The Leafs are much better than the Tampa Bay Lightning, especially with the opportunity where you might have a couple guys out, and they're minus 170. But when you're betting it, you're looking at it from a million other different ways. So, yeah, there's absolutely no reason to expect a team that didn't show up for the first 20 minutes may not do the exact same thing. But on paper, the numbers are the numbers.
And a lot of public money, obviously.
Yes,
go to
that as well,
Leafs.
too.
If you're looking at the puck line, Leafs minus 1.5, plus 160. So if you do feel like there's a bounce back and then potentially can score a couple goals, I don't know.
Minus 1.5. That's a little bit. I don't know.
I don't mind the Lightning plus 1.5, minus
I
190
see
to throw it in a parlay.
I see this being a real close game, like a one goal game. Type of deal.
It's a 1-goal league. We always say
Yeah.
that, but I mean, there's a chance to fire it in the open net. It's plus 160. That's good value. I just don't see any value in Toronto minus 170.
No, I'm with you.
And if the Leafs had won the first game and the Lightning were plus 140 on the road, I'd absolutely hammer them. And that's the way you have to look at it. It's an individual game. It's not, the narrative doesn't really tie over from game one. So I think the value is in the Lightning, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and listen, if Hedman is officially ruled out before the game, that number is obviously going to get shorter. So if you like the Leafs, probably jump on it now.
Yeah.
Rangers, Devils. The Devils minus 130 at home. The Rangers plus 110. The Rangers looked really good, obviously. A lot of what happened with the Devils, I think, had a lot to do with youth and experience, but the score line kind of flattered the Rangers, I felt, in the first game.
Yeah, it did, and I think the Rangers, I have them to win the series. I think they're the better team. It gets back to, again, this idea that can a team on the road take 2 games? I think they can. I really do like the value here at plus 110 right now for the Rangers. The Devils overachieved, I think, for most of the year. And they don't have the better goaltending in net. And I think the Rangers just have more experienced pieces and a really good back end as well as Shesterkin. I give them, I don't want to say it's going to be a short series because there's so much history between these two teams too. Like if you ask Matthew Barnaby, we talked to a lot, he played for the Rangers, and the hatred between Rangers fans and Devils fans is way more than the Islanders and Rangers or the Islanders and the Devils. It is the Devils versus the Rangers. So there is that there, and you'd like to think that the Devils are going to come out hot tonight, and they have a good team, but I like the Rangers with as a little bit of a dog.
Rangers were 67% on the power play in game 1. So if the Devils take some penalties and Rangers get the man advantage, watch out. Could be a lot of goals.
You feel like the Devils are in a similar situation to the Leafs where they need to win this game?
No. It's not
going back to Madison Square Garden?
It's not comparable.
Within the series?
Within the series,
Oh, yes, 100%.
Yeah, but all the extra stuff
that
adds on.
No, I'm saying if they go down 2-0, I think they're toast to the Rangers.
Completely, yeah.
I have the Rangers going away the Cup. I think I have them winning the Cup, actually. I can't remember.
I got them winning the Cup final.
I also have the Leafs getting past the first round and the Panthers beating Boston.
I had the Leafs winning a sweep.
Just want to throw it out there. Okay, the Kraken against the Avalanche. The series I'm really enjoying. The Avalanche minus 210. The Kraken plus 175. Can the Kraken do it again?
No, I think the Avalanche absolutely stomped them tonight. I'd take the puck line at plus 115.
That's a big number, eh? Minus 210.
Yeah, I'd take the puck line, plus 115.
Right.
I think you're going to see a much better version of the Colorado Avalanche. Look, you're the defending Stanley Cup champions. You had to get healthy and win games down the stretch. And again, in the playoffs, you took maybe a little bit of foot off the gas. Seattle's losing it. This is their first opportunity. I know it wasn't at home, but I mean, like just in general, the team and the buzz around them, I think they're going to come crashing back to reality tonight in Colorado.
And Seattle did their job. They won a game on the road. They now have home ice advantage. So Colorado's going to flex their championship muscles. They're not going to let them get pushed around back-to-back games. This is the easiest pick of the night. The Avs are going to win this one easily.
I don't know. If Grubauer can stand on his head again for a couple games in this series, you never know. But we've been talking about all year long, at least heading into the playoffs, the last half of the regular season, how the West is wide open. It definitely is wide open. But I feel like the series are just as difficult, if not more, than the East, because there's so many teams who can win and go all the way there. I've just noticed the intensity in the West seems to be just a bit more than the East. And maybe that's a stretch, but I just feel like because there's so many teams who feel like they can win based on the teams that they're going up against, it just makes for a better series.
Yeah, I think maybe as a fan watching it, it definitely, you're going to maybe have a team like Seattle that's playing a little bit more loose, and they're just kind of on house money. Here we are playing the Stanley Cup champs, second year in existence, and we're rolling. So you can make that argument. Whereas every single team in maybe not the Islanders, but every team basically thinks that they're going to win the Stanley Cup. Even Florida, despite the fact that they kind of went backwards into the playoffs, they were the President's Trophy winners last year. They made a big trade. They expect to be there as well. So, I mean, maybe you don't have that in the West.
All right, we got 90 seconds. The Golden Knights, minus 160, taking on the Jets, plus 135. The Jets surprised everybody in game 1.
Oh.
Do you expect the same here in game 2?
Biggest surprise of the playoffs. I think they pulled a little bit of a rope-a-dope on the way into the playoffs.
No kidding.
I thought Vegas would roll easy, and if they're going to, like Wheeler's returns, they got Hellebuck, who's probably only behind Vasilevsky for, I know Shesterkin too maybe, but he's right up there with those guys. If there's a team that could go down 0-2, I know I picked the Rangers as well, which would be 0-2 for the Devils. I think this is a good chance here that the Jets get this one.
The Knights are a great story that they bounce back. There's still so many holes on this team. Yeah. Injury-wise, yes, Mark Stone's working his way back in. Jack Eichel's been around all year, but I just don't trust Vegas' depth in their bottom six to help. Vegas' depth in the bottom six. Well, I think Winnipeg, they've been playing playoff hockey for almost over a month now, and they're primed. And I think, like you mentioned, Connor Hellebuck, he can steal games on the road, and if they go up 2-0 and go back home to Winnipeg, it's curtains for Vegas.
I have Carolina and Vegas in the Stanley Cup just because I hope
Vegas. Stanley Cup final?
Yeah, because I hope Vegas is the Stanley Cup final so you can go watch it.
That might be 1-1. Hey, in brackets, Vegas and Carolina. Bobby Conway, thank you so much. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll have him back next week. All right, coming up after the break, we're going to talk to Chris Kren of NHL.com about the Leafs and Lightning Game 2. It's tonight.